Okay, so you want to learn and really absorb and utilize the information. That's why you're watching these videos, because you want to actually figure out how you're going to practically apply what you just heard or what you just learned. This is the video for you. Most people listen and understand information, but they don't actually apply it. So they have surface level knowledge. It's not deeply rooted through experience. And that's a big problem, because normally when people recommend stuff or when they say, oh, you know, the data shows this and this, that, and the other, it's not really beneficial advice because you can't speak to it from a experience point of view. When you can speak to it from an experience point of view, the information that you give out actually is more effective, simply because you can simplify it and you can be able to put it in a way to where it's easily digestible. Not just this is what the books say or this is what I heard. So how do you do it? The key is you have to be a scientist. But look, don't worry about trying to get any credentials or nothing like that. Nobody has to go to school for this. Every single human being on the planet is a scientist. Think about it. When you're a kid and you're trying to figure stuff out, what do? You have a question, you go through the experiment, you figure it out. That is literally what you have to do to be able to get the actual learning out of what you're listening to or what you're getting from someone else. You have to apply it. You have to actually go through it. That's what this is about. So the first thing you have to do is you got to be like, look, how is this information going to benefit me? That's the first thing you should ask when you're going through a book, a seminar, a program, whatever. You have to personally think, how is this information going to benefit me? Now, I got a little story for you. I was reading a book from Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I have a huge library of audiobooks and books and all this stuff that I was reading for a very long time. And I was like, you know, I know this, and I felt like I got a good grasp on whatever based off of just the books, based off of just what I was hearing, just information that was coming at me. But never did I think that I was going to actually go through a specific process. I hadn't done any programs, none of that stuff. So I'm going through the Dr. Joe Dispenza book, and he says something that really perked my interest. He said, if you can learn how to sit your body down and tell it to stay like a stallion, like you're leading it, like a service animal or something, you're going to feel a liberation of energy. And I was like, wait a minute, sit your body down and lead it like a stallion. I just was thinking, like, what does that mean? And I couldn't really get what he was talking about. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. Like, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to tell myself to sit down. I'm going to be like, listen, this is what you need to do, body. Listen to me. The first time that I decided to do this blew my mind completely wide open. I sat down for about 2 minutes and realized I feel very uncomfortable right now. That also posed the question, why couldn't I just sit here and be like, yo, okay, we finna sit here, we're gonna be completely still, we're not gonna move. No, my body was feeling like something's wrong here. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this for 90 days. I'm gonna use a specific time frame, which was, for me, it was like 30 minutes. I said, I'm gonna sit down and be absolutely still for as long as I possibly can. I chose 30 minutes a day. And I said, I'm gonna do this for 90 days. If you decide that, not to get sidetracked, but if you decide that, that's gonna completely change your whole freaking life. Just saying. But outside of that, that is what you have to do. You have to hear the information, and then you have to say, okay, out of all of this stuff, I'm going to try X. And when you decide that you're going to try X, you have to then go into the experiment. So after you ask the question, then you have to go into the experiment. So once you go into the experiment, or you decide I'm gonna go into the experiment, I'm telling you, you have to at the very least, you have to try to do this for 30 days consecutively. If you don't do it consecutively, it is going to mess up the entire process. 30 days consecutively is the only way you're going to be able to collect the data properly so that you can make an actual actual assessment or come to an accurate conclusion of what you just went through. Now, this is going to couple the data that you received along with practical application. That is the experience. If you don't have practical application along with the book knowledge, you are just regurgitating what somebody else did. We are supposed to evolve. We're supposed to continue to grow. And the only way we're going to do that is if we each individually go through these recommendations and this advice that we getting from other people, and then we test it out for ourselves, because each one of us will be able to come up with areas of opportunity that we might be able to see. You might be able to pull out something and be like, hey, I love this process, but what if you do X? Or what if you add in X? Or what if you take away something from that process to make it more enhanced? That is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to keep refining the process of whatever it is that we're learning. Everything can get better. Anything you choose or anything that you decide to learn can get better. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to continue to try and get better and better and better at something when we design it. Baseball, sports, an invention, everything that we have that we come up with, we are supposed to try and continue to make it better, because it always can be better. With the new technology that we have and the newer information that we get, things can always get better. So that is the purpose of this. So now, after you go through the experiment or during the experiment, you have to collect the data. That's the only way you're going to actually know what measurable progress is being made. You have to write something down. You have to keep a log. You got to do a calendar. You do voice notes or write in a notebook or something to collect the data to see where you were, where you started from day one to where you are feeling and at the end of the experiment. If you don't do that, you will just go through it and you won't have any measuring in your mind of what actually happened. This is the scientific process that we all go through subconsciously in just different things in life, but we don't really pay attention that this can be applied to so many different things that we're learning. All you have to do is, again, to go through the other steps. 1, ask the question, how will this benefit me? 2, then you go through the experiment. 3, then you make sure while you're going through the experiment, you're collecting the data. Once you are done collecting the data and you've finished the time period that you decided to go through, at that point is where you can come to an accurate conclusion to be able to pass on this information to someone else. That is the only time that is really going to be beneficial for someone else, is when you have actually gone through the process. At the end of my 90-day period of being still, I learned how to be a lot less stressed, and I learned how to regulate my nervous system like I never thought even possible. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's why I'm saying you need to go through whatever you're reading, whatever you're listening to, because there's a bunch of books, there's a bunch of self-help stuff, there's a bunch of motivation seminars, all of that stuff, and people go through it and they hear the information and they never apply it. They never put it to, okay, how is this going to benefit me? And then let me go through the experiment to see if this actually works. I'm talking about there's so many different programs out there you can name, 75 hard and all of these different things that people say, oh, it was so hard, I failed, blah, blah, blah. That's because nobody is actually being consistent enough to go through the process to see what type of changes it is going to make to you. It's not really difficult. It's just deciding that you're gonna go through it and you're gonna be consistent at it to really find the results that you're trying to see. That has to happen. If you don't do it, then you don't understand it. You won't fully understand it to the deepest level, nervous system and mentally wise. That's the process to apply something you learn as quickly as you possibly can. You have to right away go into like, I'm gonna experiment with that. And I highly recommend choosing one thing. Sometimes those books have like 12 different things, 10 different things, 5 different things, because you can reread the book. The book is never going gonna get old. Choose one thing at a time. Do a 30-day experiment and scientific process, and then come to a conclusion on that one thing. Then go back through it and do the rest of them the same way. But that is going to ensure that you apply what you learn, and that's gonna translate into other areas of your life. You're gonna be able to see all different type of opportunities that you'll be able to apply this process in. That's best. I'm telling you, that's the best. That's the best explanation I can give you. Also, make sure you go to our website. We got a clothing store. Check out some gear. www.mindsetmattersmore.store. Link is in the description. And go to the main website where I have blog updates. That's www.mindsetmattersmore.net. And I update that once a month. Get some good information. But let's get it, y'all. All right? Help us build. Do all the stuff. Like, subscribe, all of the above, and help us build. Let's get it.